Hi, welcome to Mind Brain Movies. I'm your Sherpa into the Mind Brain Hope. I am joined by my two lovely ladies today, and it's so good because I feel like I haven't recorded with both of them in forever. It's either been
Mhm.
like one or the other. First, we have our Dr. Gremlin, Elizabeth.
Hello.
And then, of course, we have the love of my life, Booney, over here.
Mm. Hi, everybody.
Wait. Listen. I think Booney needs a nickname.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Because I'm Dr. Gremlin. Hope is the Sherpa, whatever that is, and then so you need to.
Whatever that is, says the doctor.
So you need to be like, yeah, I'm like the glue that keeps everyone together or something like that, but like in one word. So I'm not good at nicknames, you guys. Like, I'm throwing that out there. The Booney needs a nickname. Somebody needs to come up with it.
Sure.
Anyway.
You earned your nickname, though. Booney hasn't. Booney hasn't caused chaos to get one yet.
but
Anywho, so if you can tell by like my shirt and my hair and everything, it is now spooky season. It is up. I am so excited. Halloween is such a great time of year, not only for the movies, but the lores, the the coziness of fall, just like you name it. I love it. It's
I
the
do have one complaint though.
oh
Can people
god.
stop using spiders in their decor? Spiders are ugly creatures. Nobody really cares for them. Nobody really
I
wants
have
to
a
see
pet
them.
spider.
And you forced me to see it. Okay? Like, we were sharing pets. You did not have to share your pet in the thingy. Now I have to live with the image of your spider in my brain.
She
You
literally
know,
has a smiley face on her back.
if we didn't have
Ugh.
spiders in this world, we'd be infested with insects and bugs like mosquitoes and stuff like that. I'd rather have spider buddies.
But can they, like, not be anywhere near my house though?
Dude, I
Where I
have
don't
like
see them?
other than my pet spider, I also have like spiders like in my house and they quote unquote pay rent by eating all the other bugs because I'm in Florida and we're infested with bugs. So I'm like, all right, spiders, you can live in my house. I won't mess with your webs. Just eat all the other insects.
Yeah.
And guess what? They eat all the other insects.
Yeah, but I don't know. The spiders in my house, they don't be working, bruh. I get beaten by mosquitoes all the time. They're not paying rent.
Because they understand how you feel about them. You see the
Yeah.
difference?
They're like, F
They
you.
know my love. They know my love and affection for them, and I like value and cherish them. Like the Egyptians with their cats, how they worship them. That's with me and spiders. Like,
But I did
gotta
have
get
a
on the
spider
level.
crawl on me, like when you're sleeping and you know there's spiders crawling around at night. Like that's the one that like, can you just not right now? I'm grossed out a little bit.
Mm.
Especially like when they crawl on your face and stuff like that.
No, just anytime I feel like sometimes when there's like a loose thread or something and it's like you just kind of like sense it and I'm like, it's a spider. So
Usually,
no,
I think
I don't like
mosquito or
spiders.
something, but not spider. But okay,
But that's because that's the one thing I'm afraid of. Like, like people be
the
like, oh
one
yeah,
thing.
one of the main thing. Okay, listen, I'm afraid of ghosts as well. Yes, I'm afraid of scary movies. Yes, but spiders are like, the thing that
And
you
that,
are more
folks, is
likely
our
to see.
intro. And that, folks, is our intro to what we're doing.
To my
Is
torture of this month. Okay, that's what she's referring to. She just said, hey, how can we make this podcast even more fun? Oh, why don't we just torture Elizabeth? Yeah, that would get more views. Sure.
technically
And
this
then I
was
said
your
yes.
idea.
Listen. I just chose the Scooby Doo movie. Listen, okay, like,
No, you
I
chose
didn't choose
horror.
the other
You
movies.
chose horror movies, and the first thing that came out of your mouth was Midsommar.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yes, but like, did I
I got
say?
receipts, okay?
I'm like, but did I say I wanted to watch it? I could have just wanted you to like summarize the movie for me. I'm happy with that as well, you know?
Anywho,
Listen,
It's
I'm
not
gonna
like we
use,
always do this stuff where we watch movies and talk about it.
but Booney, it has never been a scary movie before. And now I have to watch four of them.
You'll be okay.
so in
Mm.
honor of mental health
Mm.
and spooky season, we are watching horror movies to tackle fears and to break down horror and why I love it, why Liz hates it, and why Booney tolerates the both of us. Uh,
Correct.
and to start out, I was nice and we picked a horror movie, Scooby Doo and Zombie Island.
I had to start with something like my bar. Hey, wait. My bar for scary movies is like down here, you know. I was like, yes, I did grow up with like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Do I sometimes listen to this one podcast where they talk about like crime and stuff? Yes, but also that podcast is from like stories from like way a bunch of time ago, and like it's not really a movie because movie is different, you know, because movie is like you're in there and then you hear like all the sounds and then you see all the creepy things and then you're like creeped out, right? If someone's telling a story, I can just sort of like tune it out for a little bit, you know. It's like less of a thing. I just can think of it more of as like, oh, this is like a historical fact, you know. Can't do that with a movie. So movies are scary is what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Well, I love it. And
Of course you would.
again, we have between the three of us, we're along the spectrum of hate, tolerate, and love.
Wait a minute, wait a
And
minute, wait a minute. Bunny, did you like on purpose willingly watch scary movies?
um, so when I was younger, I liked psychological thrillers a lot.
Mm.
I one of the films I watched all the time growing up. So this is don't analyze me, people, but I watched The Shining and It a lot as a kid.
oh my god, no, but those are so good. Those are so
Yeah.
good.
Um, there's a reason. There's always a I'm sure you guys already talked about the psychological reasons for exploring horror, things like that. Yeah, that was my comfort as a kid, so you could see how my mind was growing up.
So I watched Courage the Cowardly Dog and Scooby Doo as a kid.
No.
So you can see how well prepared I am to face the world.
Mm,
My
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I've loved horror movies growing up, but a fun like anecdote is I watched the Gremlins as a small kid. My mom's like, I don't know, like the creepy gremlins might freak her out. Da 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 da. Da. I watched the movie and I did get nightmares, but it wasn't from what you would expect. So there's a story of like behind the scenes that all the puppeteers and everyone who worked on the movie would like beat the shit out of Gizmo because he was such a hard puppet to use, and they're like they would just beat the frustrations out of the puppets because they were so hard to do. And so my nightmares weren't like, oh, the gremlins are coming to get me. My nightmares literally were they're killing Gizmo, mom, they're killing Gizmo. And I would like wake up crying. I'm like, they don't understand. They were torturing Gizmo. She's like, but you're fine. I was like, I don't care about myself. They were torturing Gizmo.
Even as a child, you were like, I have to help people.
Exactly. I was like, I don't care. I just need to save Gizmo, mom. And she's like, "Yeah, that is not the type of nightmare I was expecting out of you, but okay. Uh, but other than that, I've loved horror films. Like one of my first big ones growing up watching was like Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm definitely a Freddy fan. Love Freddy Krueger. That's my boy. Nowadays, I love Art the Clown. He's another one of my boys. I've met him before. I have like photos with him and stuff. I go to the horror conventions. I'm kind of like a horror freak. Um, I love it. It's my life. Even when you come into my house, the front room, which is usually like a walk-in room or whatever type of room, I call it my horror room because it has like all my horror memorabilia and like all this stuff. So
That wasn't the room you used to use before for recording, was it?
no, that was my bedroom.
Oh.
I don't think I've shown you guys. I've taken photos of stuff in my horror room and I sent it to you guys personally, but
Listen, I'm gonna tell what I tell my brother all the time. You all think I remember this stuff? No.
no, that's
I
why
don't
I
remember
keep
anything.
that's why I keep it in the Discord so I can go back to it and tell you.
You have to keep all the receipts. Like anything I say, you have to like screenshot.
You
Otherwise, I'm gonna
you
be
know
like,
how
that
like
never happened.
you know how they like have that pin the message thing? I have to do that for everything Liz says.
It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. It's just like me. All the conversation is me. Uh,
Ugh. Anywho, as we keep getting sidetracked, the first one we wanted to dive into. I wanted to be nice to Liz. We wanted to dive into Scooby Doo and Zombie Island. And that's our first movie of because we're doing like one movie a week for horror month, for spoopy month, spoopy season. And I wanted to do Scooby Doo and Zombie Island because one, it's first off, Scooby Doo is iconic. It's been around since like the 60s, you
Wait,
know.
listen. Hold on. So
I swear to God.
Mark Hamill voiced one of the characters in this movie. I didn't know that. That was so cool. Do I remember which character it was? No, but cool.
That is cool.
Now,
Yes.
He's a great voice actor.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, oh yeah, Mark Hamill does amazing work. Now I need to look up which one he did. I think I know which one he did, but um, oh, okay, Snakebite Scruggs. Uh,
Who's that?
that was the
The Hot Gardener? No, that wasn't him.
no, that was Bo. So he voiced the guy who had the pig mojo and was like, "I just want to get my big mama
Oh, the
fish."
fisherman guy. That was him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's because people sometimes are like, oh, I can recognize, it kind of sounds like them. I can never, especially for my camera. Like every time I rewatch Avatar: The Last Airbender, I like somehow remember that he plays Ozai, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that because I just cannot. I can't really hear it.
Hmm.
I'll say that's me and my boyfriend. I'll be like, "Oh, by the way, did you know that so and so's voicing this character?" And he's like, "What?" I thought it was just he was like, "I had no idea." He cannot he's not good with languages. He's not good with voices. He's like, yeah, so I'm the one who's always picking that up.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I have watched so much anime. I recognize this voice actor, and then go Google them. It is not the same person.
Yeah, it's funny part.
It's not. It's not. So I do not have the gift, you guys. I do not know.
But so I obviously you don't like horror, but you've been fascinated with horror. And I know I've been a part of several panels of yours, Liz, on your channel. Um what is it about it that like you don't like but fascinates you? Because we've talked about it on your channel, but not necessarily here.
So when like the more I think about it, the more it just kind of for me boils down to stories. I like stories. That's why I like history, because to me history is just a bunch of stories, and that's why I like reading, because it's stories that I'm reading. And whenever I do, I think that's why I'm so passionate about like doing therapy and stuff, because to me it's a space for people to share their stories, right? And connect and understand how they can sort of like improve their future story, for themselves, because the way that we understand the world, that's sort of like the story we tell ourselves, right? Like the way we see ourselves, um whether it is like Sorry, it's a
Whether it's the side whether it's the side character Mike that I'm buying WD-40 for.
um. So what, like, because the way that we talk about ourselves to ourselves is kind of like the story we tell, right? Like the story we believe, the story of, I'm worth, respect and love, or like I'm not worthy of anything because I'm lazy or because I'm this or whatever, right? So if we change the way we tell the story for ourselves, and that can change our whole story just outside of like our inner world as well. It can change the way that we view things, right? I think that's why I'm so interested in, especially in the horror genre, because it's a story, or it's a series of stories I don't really have access to because I'm scared. So I like, for me, has been sort of like taboo. Is like, oh, it's kind of like partially like morbid curiosity, because I kind of want to know, but I also
Mhm.
don't want to like experience, because I get very immersed in like movies and stuff, and I need something where I don't really do that. And like same thing with like books, I just like get so into it. And like sometimes I'm just kind of like you, where you were saying, it was like, oh, they were just so mean to this character. Like I was I was watching this movie Scooby Doo, and then I was like, you know what, I love Shaggy and Scooby, but they make such a mess. And I'm like, I was just upset. I was like, why are they creating so much chaos? Like, I was like, bro, like, chill. It's not your
Interesting that
house, man.
someone chaotic would say that about other people being
I was gonna
chaotic.
say that's
Hmm.
Booney
But I
just hit
keep,
the nail on the head. Self chaos is like
but
reflecting
listen,
upon
listen.
chaos.
I keep my chaos in my house. You see, like, I don't spread my chaos
But do you?
elsewhere.
You don't?
Until I get to know you really well, and then it becomes chaotic. But that's not the point. Like, he didn't know the people. I mean, they turned out to be evil and stuff, so they kind of deserved it. But that's not the point. Like, they're just so chaotic. I just, you know, I was just kind of upset. You know what else I'm upset about? Hold on, listen. I just, excuse me for a minute. I need to rant a little bit. So I was watching Scooby Doo, right? And I was like, Scooby is like a really cool dog, and he even talks, and like all of these cool, amazing things, right? And he's like, Shaggy's like BFF and all that. And then he started chasing the cats and doing all, like, making it really hard for the gardener to do stuff, right? And then
Rats?
I was like,
Where?
poor gardener. I feel for him, right? And then this morning, my dog nephew came, and whenever he comes, he just kind of hangs out with my dog. Like, he just want to play, wants to go outside in the backyard. Understandable, he doesn't really have a backyard in his house. Cool, cool. But then he hangs out with my brother, and that's not okay. I'm supposed to be his favorite auntie. I feed him, I give him snacks, I let him lay in my bed, I give him like little cuddly places to do that, I give him all of the pets. Does he want to hang out with me? No. He just hangs out with my brother. Why? Because my brother plays fetch. And that's the only thing my brother does. Okay? That's the only thing my brother does with him, just play fetch. And I'm like, bro, when you're thirsty and you come into my house, in my room, and drink the water, who refills it? Me. Does he care about that? No. He just cares about hanging out with my brother. And that's just the worst kind of betrayal, I think. That's just bad. And pets shouldn't do that. I don't know what my point is. Point is I am upset with my nephew dog nephew,
You're upset
dog
with
nephew.
dogs right now, apparently.
I'm upset with dogs. Yes.
Um, Boone, please save us. What? What? Um, so how, like, okay, so what has been like your
Go on.
what's been your background with Scooby Doo? Like, I know I grew up with it as a kid. Like I said before, it's been around since like the 60s. It's had a billion different iterations. Have you seen this movie before? This was like the beginning of like the revival, I feel, of Scooby Doo. Because this one came out in like 98, I want to say. Um,
Wait, hold on. You said it started in the 60s?
Hmm?
Yes.
Dang, I feel old. Like I never thought about it. I was just like, it's something cool that I watched on TV, you know? Like I never thought about how old this is. But even if it like, I would say it still holds up pretty well though.
Well, there's like I said, there's been many different iterations. You have like the original Scooby Doo, Where Are You? And then you have like the old school movies from like the 70s and 80s, and then you have like the celebrity guest spot Scooby Doo series, and you have like a pup named Scooby Doo. Then you have like Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo. Then you have like the revival, and then you have like all these, like there's a billion iterations, and then you like have the movies, and you have this and that. Like it's been going for a long time now.
You know what I really like about a pup named Scooby Doo is that we see just a normal like doghouse outside, but then it's like an elevator to like this humongous underground mansion. That was the best part of that. I Ever since, I think it was a very typical thing to have, because then around, I don't know if it was like the same time or not, but when I was growing up, we also had like not only like that cartoon series, but also like Dexter Labs, like where he had like an underground thing. Like a lot of things were like underground, and now like it would be so cool to have like a, not necessarily like a hiding spot, but like, you know, a cool hangout spot underground. That's my dream.
Just pay like 3 million and you can get one of those like apocalypse bunkers that all the rich people are paying for
But
out in
they're
like
not that
Utah.
nice and they're tiny. I want like a whole mansion like in Scooby Doo.
Oh no, like apparently there's like this bespoke underground bunker thing that like if you pay like 10 million for or whatever, there's like chandeliers and places for artwork and like 5 car garages underground. Like it's ridiculous.
Hmm. Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah, just chump change 10 million. Let me just throw that out.
That's why I said dream. That's why I said dream.
Anyway, Booney, before someone interrupted you,
Oh, sorry.
what has been like your background with Scooby Doo? Like, did you ever watch it as a kid, or did you ever see this movie beforehand? Like, what is your relationship?
I have never chosen to watch an episode or a film of Scooby Doo before. I've only seen it in passing, the commercials. Um, Certain celebrities have played in the
Wait, is this your
films.
first one?
Yeah.
Okay. That's so cool. Tell us more. Tell us everything. What did you think of
I thought it was a very silly concept.
it?
Yeah, no, it's
Yes,
definitely
accurate.
super super silly, super ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I second that.
But it's a good choice because it shows basically it sums up the series, right? Bad adults wearing masks for the first part of it. There's no real
Yeah,
source.
exactly. And I do like the fact that this is like the first iteration where it's quote unquote real.
Mm.
It's not just like how in the first part where it's like you said, it's always a white man in a mask. It's like that's what Scooby Doo was literally a metaphor for never trust an old white man. Uh, like I don't know how else to put it, but yeah. Um, but I did like this because it was, well, I shouldn't say this is the first movie because there was a movie in like the 80s or something. It was like Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School. Um, me, Scooby Doo and
I was actually asking my brother as I was watching it, because he just remembers all this stuff like way better than I do, and I was like, "Are there any other like
yeah,
Scooby Doo movies or shows?"
1988. It
Wow.
The Ghoul
was
School.
the Ghoul School. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, because I was like, because it's usually most of the time is like someone in a mask, right? And I was like, but
Mm-hmm.
this was like the first time where it was kind of like a curse or something, where like
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
they made it like curses are real kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I got curious and I was like, are there other like movies where like it was like a real thing, like a real sort of like supernatural thing that was happening? And he said there was like just like a handful of movies that do that. There's like an
Yeah.
alien
In the
one or something.
Yeah, in the early aughts, like, this revival period is when they started to do, like, real stuff. There was this, the next one was, like, The Witch's Hex, where it was similar. They were, I wanna say they were in Salem, and there was, like they had to deal with, like, the witch trials and the curse of witches. Then there was, like, an alien one, and so there was a couple in these, like, early aughts years where they tried to make it more real. Again, it was never in the show, it was, like, movies only. Which I think is also a interesting concept, how they kept, like, the real stuff, quote, unquote, "to the movies," but not in the show. So I think that's interesting how
Hmm.
they left this type of thing for movies, and I wonder what the choice was behind that, like, I don't know. What do you think? Like, I maybe it's because if they kept doing it, they maybe kept would say, "Yes, us this stuff is real," where movies would be like a one-off, more fanciful, like, I don't know.
But that's how I thought of it as well. Where because you had more of a audience reach with like TV, especially back in the day, than you did with movies.
Yeah.
Now, because of like all the streaming services and stuff, you can probably it's probably the opposite maybe at this
Yeah.
point. But yeah, and I think one of the things that I really did appreciate about, you know, the Scooby-Doo series in general, and also sort of like those also like scary cartoons that happen, that it was, and I think that's why, like, partially I'm like, I'm all about the story that they're trying to tell, right? Like the reason, like the figuring out what's behind the curtain, right? And that's something I still do. Like I like whatever I'm in therapy, like in therapy I'm like, okay, so whatever, you know, you're mad about, usually it's something triggered it, right? So we have to figure out what the mystery is, like what the root of the cause is, so then we can address that so these things never happens again, right? And so I think that's kind of like how my brain got kind of like wired to start thinking, because as a kid this is it was always like there's a reason for this, like you don't really
Mhm.
have to be scared. And it kind of also said this thing of like, even if you're scared, you can still be brave and do stuff, because Shaggy and Scooby, they're always scared,
Mhm.
but they always help out anyway. They always volunteer. They're always the like the what is it, like
The
the
bait for the
bait
traps.
for everything. Yeah, and they always agree to it because they trust their friends, right? So again, it was this whole um you have the power to do it. Now, I was actually asking David too, and I hope you might have the answer to this. How
Sure.
old are they supposed to be in this one? Because they all had careers and stuff. So I'm thinking like early like 20s, but like in
Yeah.
the cartoons and stuff, are they also supposed? Because I always thought they were like teenagers.
So in the cartoon series, they're like 18 through like 22 type age.
Mm.
In this movie, they're like early to mid 20s. So I mean, they're still all very young. They're all very, very young, and no matter what iteration, they're all very young.
No, now looking back, and I'm like, yes, they are very young. But when I was a kid, and I was like, that's why I think that's why I just kind of like saw them as that, because I remember as a kid thinking like, but what do they do for work, or do they go to school? Because they never like, it was always sort of like the episode or like the villain of the week, right? So like we never really got to see them outside of this. Oh, but you know what I'm kind of also curious about, Hope? Have you
Hmm.
seen the I don't know if it's like a live action or like an animated one, with Velma as the protagonist? Have you seen that one?
Yeah, we don't watch that.
Well, I think part
Yeah.
of why because I just heard like everybody hated it. They just
We
really
don't
hated
watch
it.
that for many reasons.
Well,
She's just
well, but one of
weird.
the reasons that I can think about is that i- the way or the reason I think why Scooby Doo works so well was because there was no need for us to know. anything about the characters. And whenever we did learn something about the characters, it had to do with whatever mystery they were solving, right? Because like nowadays, sometimes I watch like mini series, and like I stop watching them because I'm like, I don't care about the love life of these doctors or policemen or firefighters. I just want to know, I just wanted them like to see them go out and like do their job and like be super cool and do these things. Like I don't care what happens behind the scenes. I'm not here for that. And that's kind of like what the show was. Like you don't need to know anything about them. And now it's all about sort of like the character. Oh, wait a minute. So I guess it was more like story driven as opposed to like character driven. I think maybe now we're getting a lot more character driven stuff. Is that why?
And that can be good for certain things. Again, that's an anomaly in and of itself. It had a lot of flaws to it behind on like in front of the camera, behind the camera. Like there was a lot of controversy with that show from the get-go. Um and that's a whole other episode, but in general, I feel as though as Scooby Doo has evolved, though I do agree with you. In any iteration, it's become more character driven. Whereas before, it's literally like throw these random ass kids in a scene, go. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how is it every week that they're just randomly in a new town when something's happening? You know, it's just like, oh, we're on vacation. Oh, there's a mystery. Like, you know, it was very plot based. Whereas with like very trope esque things, you know, you have your stoner, you have the dog, you have the nerd, you have the it was like Breakfast Club, but with a mystery.
But
Like,
cool.
right.
Well, I kind of want to know, Booney, since this is like your first sort of like introduction to the series in general, what do you think, or what is your preference when it comes to having it be character driven or like plot driven, I guess?
Are we allowed to use the word identity politics in this podcast?
I don't give a shit.
Okay.
um, I think first of
The
all,
only
don't cancel me. Representation's important. Um,
I was about to say I don't follow them YouTube rules. What are you
okay.
talking about, girl? When
Yeah.
we need to say words, we say words on this podcast because
Yes,
I
sir. Yes,
grew
sir.
up.
Okay. um.
No censoring here.
Okay. All right. Well, people gonna find out I'm a moderate. So like, um, I'm all about a good story. Okay. If the character's identity is part of that good story, then great. But if you're gonna kind of pluck and drop into some thing that doesn't fit, you're doing a disservice, and you really, really think that your audience is stupid. Like that's disrespectful. It's setting the standard very low. And it's like giving people a portion of a true artistic experience. Um, and we have so much technology, so much talent that we can offer way more than that. So why are we going low? Why are we offering the bare minimum here? Like, I think as an artist too, so there's like artistic integrity here. If you're coming out and creating something, I would want the best of my skill sets, whatever it is, to be demonstrated. And so I don't really care sometimes about how people take my stuff. Um, it has to be true to who I am. So it has to resonate. I think sometimes so that's the Hollywood part of it. Um, and I work with a lot of people in Hollywood, so I understand the struggle. It's just that balance now of like, are you going to lose your soul and sell only a piece of this magic because you want the numbers or to fit in or to keep the contract or whatever it is? And that's really, I'm gonna throw in archetypes now. Like that's part of the
You
artistic.
finally, how far did
Oh,
we
were you
get
waiting?
without?
I'm sorry. You should have a sign archetype like Booney. Just say something.
I was like, we're at this minute mark and she hasn't said anything. I was like, I was about to
I'm
like send. I was literally about to message you in the chat, like, "Are you okay?"
I'm really tired. I already told you guys I'm super tired. Arthritis is no joke. Okay, so um the archetypal part of it is like are you going to sell your soul? So it's like, you know how you talk about like witchcraft and stuff like that? It's usually like, it's not real. So I was actually thinking about towards the end of the film how, and what you said in the beginning, Liz, about narrative and storytelling and how the words you use. I was actually thinking
Mm-hmm.
about this Scooby Doo thing too. Like witchcraft can be real. It
Oh,
Language is
100%.
powerful, right? And so
Mm.
if you think a way about a certain person and you say it, that's going to become their truth. It's become your truth and the world is your perspective. So yeah, that's a form of witchcraft. I think prayer is powerful. The way you say something over and over again, that becomes your reality. So I just don't think that we give enough weight to the power of our belief systems, whatever you want to name it. It's can be like a religion. But going back to like the archetype of being an artist, we're floating in this weird time. So what do you want to call it?
I was gonna
Hmm?
say, so it came out in like 98, so it's being made in 97, 98, or 96, 97. So like, and that the 90s were not a PC time
Mm-mm.
whatsoever.
No, and I'm
Like
glad.
the night the 90s were, it was a mixture of beauty and horrible chaos was the 90s. Like, I'm a 90s baby through and through. I will support the 90s, but it is not all sunshine and rainbows like we
Mm-mm.
want to remember it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, so this, unfortunately, how I see our generation and the next couple of generations, it's like we have to deal with cleaning up a lot of bullshit. So it's not going to be fun for us. It's just us really challenging the greater culture and seeing what we want to keep, because that's the work of any anything you have to do to grow. That's what
Mhm.
work involves. You can't it's not It's not extreme in any ideal. Like the ideal is the hope and the wish, but that that's not real. You know, like pushing for something extreme in a show, you can't keep it that way. Like I use the pendulum example all the time. Like you swing something to the extreme, it doesn't stay on the end. It's gonna sooner or later swing back. You have to let it go. Just like what was it? Akira, right?
Oh yeah.
The change was too fast. You're gonna blow up. You're gonna explode. Your body can't consume it, quickly enough. Anyways, like the integration, it's just I don't know. It made me think of a lot of things about.
By the way, you can check out the Akira episode on our channel, and you can watch me and Booney dissect it, where Liz refused to watch the end half because of quote unquote
What's
time mess
that?
ups.
Wait. Oh, that. Yeah, sure. I was sort of professional. I was great. It was not my fault. I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Anyways, you can check out that episode on our channel. It was really good if you like Akira.
I really like how. Yes, I agree with you, Bunny. Because sometimes there is this, especially when you mentioned representation earlier, and there is sort of like now this push where it's like all in your face, and they're like, oh, we're gonna have this specific scene um for like the female audience, right? Or we're gonna have like this specific thing for the BIPOC, like people or whatever. And then part of it is like, I'm glad you guys are trying, but you don't really have to do that. Like, it
Like,
can just be
yeah.
simple as making sure that there is more female representation in
Mhm.
shows, and that they're talking to each other about more than just whoever they're dating or
Right.
and that's great. We're also not really saying, oh, focus more on the story and not so much on like developing the characters. No, because the characters are well developed. They're all individuals. They all have sort of like the things that they are. Well, I'm talking about like the Scooby Doo thingy. Like, they all have their own sort of lives. Because like, if you were to watch like all of the Scooby Doo stuff, you get to learn a lot about the characters. But it's something that if it fits into the plot, then that's when it gets brought up. It's not
Hmm.
something more like, oh, and now we're having flashbacks to this one thing that has nothing to do with
Right.
anything, but you know and I'm kind of like,
Lazy storytelling. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Basically just
yeah,
it's filler. It's filler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and pandering. I don't like that
yeah,
again because it's disrespectful.
same, yeah.
So, Liz,
Yeah.
now that we've gotten past that, what I'm very curious though, because the whole thing is for this month is to face fears, you know, and on a scale of like 1 to 10, I'm gonna laugh if you say like 7. How scared were you of this film? I know this is like our baseline film, like our ease into, but was there any
Jokes on you, it
moment?
was actually 10.
Yeah.
Well, this is a movie that I have seen before. So it was less scary because it's my second time around, you know? And also I love the characters. But one of the things that it could have made it very, very scary for me is if that they went more sort of like into detail talking about voodoo.
Mm.
Right.
Because that has
I
to do a lot to do with like spirits and stuff, and that again,
I
that's
I
what I'm
will
scared of.
say that is the part that kind of annoyed me because it with voodoo, they kind of like the rules are all over the place for that because like when they first touched it and lifted up, then they were being lifted, and then like different things were happening, but then in a
The
different
way they
scene,
just like threw them against the
right? And then
wall.
but then in a different scene, like it was that like their things got like skidded across the floor, but they stayed in place. It's like shouldn't they have like moved? Like so the rules were all over their place. And
Mm.
not even gonna lie, the funny thing is I just watched the original Child's Play. I was just it's part of like one of my horror movies I just rewatch every year. And there's a scene with voodoo in it. And but that was so cool because the main character Chucky, he's like, "Yeah," and the dude's arm, and you saw the dude's arm go like, you know, and then like
Mhm.
they would do it to his like his back, and it was like all contorted. Like I was like, okay, that's cool. But this voodoo was like all over the place. And then I was freaking out because I'm like, Velma, if this voodoo is legit and you're just like fumbling with your doll with your shoed feet, you're gonna like
You're
break
like
your neck, girl.
scrapes
You're,
everywhere.
go- I was like, you're gonna like break your own neck. You're gonna kill yourself if you
No,
Yeah.
keep doing this.
it was weird because like part of it was kind of cool is that when the dolls got like really close to the fire, they started melting, and that was kind of like starting to get creepy. And then like all of a sudden they're like back to themselves, and I was like, no, they should have just stayed like all melted. That would have been like the true, like, if they
Right.
do you know how they did the, I don't know if it's good, I just know that they did the scary movie for like uh Santa and for like Winnie the Pooh and stuff. If they decide to do like an actual like scary movie of like, Scooby Doo, that would be it, where they're just kind of like all like weird and like, melted, and they're like, oh yeah, what happened to your face? Oh, it's just, some voodoo
So
stuff.
the live action ones they did with like Matthew Lillard and Freddie Prinze Jr. and like all them. So James Gunn did those films and he wanted to make them rated R films.
Oh.
Mm.
Like he had a script for them to be rated R,
Oh yeah.
and where it was going to be like that. And the studios were like, this is Scooby Doo, right? And he's like, but
Mm.
look. And cuz James Gunn's background is it is horror. That's his background. He was like Lloyd Kaufman, which he's the creator of Trauma, the Traumaverse and everything, which is a huge like B movie horror scene. Like Lloyd Kaufman like raised James Gunn, and so like horror is his shtick. So when he got that, he was like, "Oh, but but real." And that was nixed. So unfortunately, we were robbed of that.
Mm.
It would be really cool though if they were to like bring it back, or like.
The closest I think we'll get is there's one episode in this show called The Venture Brothers, and they have like this Scooby Doo team, and they're like all kinds of jacked up, like the dog, like the Scooby Doo character and Shaggy, like they're real druggies, and then like they and Fred is like well, we're just gonna kill him, and then, like, so it's like that's the closest you'll get is the Venture Brothers version in that one episode.
Did you think they'll ever sort of like do like an adult version? Because the people that are interested in Scooby Doo, I think now are adults. So like I would like to see more of
Again,
a like I guess like rated R thing. Do you think that would like ever happen, or is it kind of like Disney where they're like, no, that's too much, I can't.
there's been some things like parodies, like how I mentioned with the Venture Brothers. There was like the
Mm.
one where they had a crossover of the show Supernatural with Scooby Doo, and that
Really?
Oh,
got a little bit more elevated.
Oh.
Um, so I think it's just there's potential, but it's not like gonna be all that. I don't know. We'll see.
Hmm.
it would be cool though.
But you never answered my question, Liz.
Oh,
On a scale of
I said
1 to
10.
10,
Nice tracking.
Um,
I was if this is 10, we're gonna need a bigger scale for the later
it's gonna
movies.
be up to like 1,000 by the time we finish all of the movies. Um, uh, I wasn't scared because it was like it's a kids movie and they
Yeah.
didn't like they don't show a lot of like the actual consequences of like doing any of these things. Did I think it was completely gross that Scooby and Shaggy kept falling into the water and I was like, you don't know what's in there. I was like, why are you guys so clean? Like it's
It
probably disgusting weird water.
it kept making me that makes me think of, the what was it, Tarzan, the Disney version. He was like, "Is this water sanitary? It looks questionable to me."
Aw, cutie.
Yeah, that was me the whole time. I guess I think well now I have more of like an adult perspective, right? To this. Not that I was like scared as a child either, because there's so much like funny things happening. You know the one thing that I really wanted to talk about to you guys
Oh
is
god.
as a kid, every time I saw Scooby and Shaggy eat sandwiches, I always craved one
Those
because
sandwiches
they
look
look
really good.
like
Yeah.
so delicious. And I'm like,
Okay,
Yeah.
I
yes.
agree. Now, speaking of food, there actually was something that did scare me in this film. Speaking of food, because I know how peppers are. I've had, like, ghost pepper in my eyes. I've
That
had,
part where they
like,
squeeze the
peppers.
pepper and
No, no, well,
oh.
yes, but that's not what scared me. So, like, when Shaggy put all those peppers in his pockets and he, like, kept falling and running around, I, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, "Oh, pepper juice in my vagina. Oh, pepper juice in my vagina."
That's
And
nasty.
like, freaking out, like, whenever he would fall, I'm like, "Oh, it's burning. It's burning. How is he not dead from the pepper burning?" Like, that's the only thing that, like, freaked me out with the movie. I was like, "That pepper juice is getting everywhere. It's just in his pockets. It's getting everywhere."
I think maybe this is why I was so attracted to this show as a kid, because my ADHD brain totally forgot he was carrying them until like they were needed, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Um, yeah, even as an adult, I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And then they're like, oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
and I'm
but
just gonna use
that's
them
the
for
thing. You
that.
were freaking about the water. I was freaking about, like, crushed peppers in their pockets, like, what it would do to them and, like, what it would happen if that happened to me. Because again, I've had, like, ghost pepper in my eyes before. It is not pleasant. Um,
Booney,
so
what horrified you about this movie? What actually horrified you?
the
um
politics.
well, I mean there was a political thing at the end, but like I guess I wasn't horrified. I was just like frustrated and annoyed that the trope. It's older though. The whole bad guy revealing their entire history and plan when they're about to
Yeah,
like win. They told their whole history. That could have been incorporated into the story the whole time. You know,
right.
for us
Like,
to build.
they
Yeah,
could have even disguised it as, like, "Oh, my great-grandmother," and then it's like, "Oh, by the way, that was actually us." Like,
yeah. They could have like give us more of a story. We could like puzzle it ourselves instead of the whole thing just like unraveling at the end, and here we go. We're just gonna
But
quickly solve it. There's a reason.
maybe I don't know. Like, okay, my memory is the worst, as we've already concluded. But as a kid, I just sort of that's what I imagine, and that's what I remember Scooby Doo being. Where like because usually there's, but the number of clues is usually like less than five, like things that they have to go on, right?
It's a
But it
scrap
did
of
seem,
paper that was in the trash. It's a clue.
but it was very fast. And yeah, it was kind of like shady how the girls sort of like approached them. In my head, I was like, oh, I wouldn't just follow some random person I just met. One,
Mhm.
and then two, like the lady was like, you guys can stay over, and I was like, that's shady. No, like I would be like, that's already scary. That's what is it, Daphne's viewers, oh wait,
Mhm.
wait, wait, I saw it like I have to explain it in this way so people can understand. I saw a
Okay.
meme earlier where it was like, oh, I think I sent it to you guys. No, I posted it in the Discord for Psychology for Geeks, where it was like neurodivergent people like speaking in parentheses because every thought comes with like extra thoughts. And like that, so that's me right now. Because I just, when I said Daphne, I just remember when we were kids, David and I used to punk. We used to make fun of our younger brother because he could not say Daphne. He would say Daphne. And then it was just so funny for us. And it was like, say Daphne, say Daphne. And then he just couldn't. And it was funny.
You're
So yeah, that
awful.
was my
No
childhood.
wonder he moved out.
Free room for you.
um, yeah. Anyway, that would have been a great spooky story for Daphne's viewers. Um where when people that you just met invite you to stay over, you say no because that's weird. You just met them, they just met you. That's kind of weird.
I don't know. They were thinking with their down under parts though, both Daphne and Fred. So
Mm. That's even
Okay, hold on.
worse. Don't
There
think like
is
yeah.
this
that.
sort of like controversy. Booney, did you think Daphne and Fred were like a couple, or like there were vibes for them to like become a couple?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
No, but like, did you notice? Did you sense it? Did you ship them together?
Yeah, I thought they were together.
Yeah. So that's the
It
thing.
hasn't
Like,
been really answered. It's kind of like
it's
yes and
there's
no.
certain there again. Saying it again. There's like certain movies and iterations where it's like blatant, and then other ones where it's just not, and it's only like implied maybe. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it's. I feel like it's like a Scooby Doo fandom thing where we're like, in my head, we all ship them together, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Sure.
yes, all of us hope. All of the Scooby Doo fans think exactly the same as I do. Okay. Uh,
Let me just question Matthew Lillard real quick, and well actually, funny enough, in the live action Scooby Doo film, Freddie Prince Jr. and holy crap, um, Sarah Michelle Gellar, they play Fred and Daphne, and they're actually married in real life.
oh, I knew
Yeah.
it.
So
See, that proves my theory.
Bruce,
You know what? Like, is that I don't know who you're talking about, but what's the name of the Scooby Doo live action?
uh, I don't know. There's like three of them. I don't know.
Oh, I think it is that one. Uh, um. Oh yeah, that's the one you're talking about because it's the same people. Um,
So
my
Liz,
I
favorite.
think it's just called Scooby Doo.
I think the same group of people did like a few movies, but
Yeah, and then
anyway,
there's Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, and then it
yeah,
was like,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
But one of those movies, they have like this really funny scene where like there's these teenagers making fun of them, right? Like of the gang. And then Daphne's like, quick, think of a comeback. And like everybody was just quiet. And then she's like, oh yeah, shut up. And that is my favorite thing. I don't remember what the kid said to make fun of them, but I just remember that she was like, "Oh
That
yeah, shut up." And sometimes when I can't think of a comeback
did
with my siblings, that's what I do.
I was gonna
Shut
say,
up.
did you feel very connected? Because that's something you would do.
No, I stole it. I was like, this is genius. So like now I use it all the time with like my siblings. Shut up. Wait, Booney, you were gonna ask me something.
Do you think this film has prepared you for more scary films?
No. It has
So
prepared me to like remember that I have to watch something before
Mm.
we record. Um, but no.
so for those of you out there who want to know the play-by-play, and Booney actually would find this interesting because I actually try to get horror movies with a very wide spectrum. But first off, I had to follow very specific instructions from Liz.
No,
It
no,
couldn't
hold on.
be
Hold on. Before you say anything, I would like to preface this by saying I thought we were watching these movies together. Okay? So I was like, okay, cool. I think I can like,
we
like
are for
level it
some of
up.
them.
Yeah,
We
but
are
not all of them. I think there's one or like two of them where I kind of have to watch by myself and those are really scary. So
yeah,
thanks.
one was Scooby Doo. You're done. I think you survived.
But yeah, anyway, that's why I chose what I chose, okay? And also like I really don't have any idea of like how scary these movies are. I just know they're like horror. So like I don't know like how scared I'm going to be. I feel like
Well,
really scared.
I followed your guidelines. Okay, so with the exception of the Scooby Doo movie, I couldn't do any supernatural or ghosties,
No, those are really scary.
even though, even
But
though,
if you
so
would like to see me watch a really scary movie with ghosts in it, if you guys donate a bunch of money to my nonprofit, I'll do it. I'll do it.
I will release a video of her reacting and screaming.
Yes. And then like 20 videos after that of me not being able to sleep for like a month. Yes.
because so um the what I have lined up for our Liz here is we had Scooby Doo as we talked about today, or sort of talked about today. I don't know. Well, we did Scooby Doo today. Uh, and then the next one I have set up is I wanted to do something that represented Liz in her Hispanic heritage and like delve into Hispanic type horror.
Which
And
is way scarier, Hope.
that's why it was so difficult because there's so many good Hispanic horror movies, but they're all very spiritual and ghosty. And it was hard finding one that wasn't. But
That's why it's scary.
even though they're so good and there's so many that I could. Anyways, so we landed. I found one. It's called Piggy or Cerdita. Um, and that's going to be our next horror film. So Cerdita slash Piggy is a Hispanic horror that's not supernatural or spooky and ghosty. You're welcome.
You
Uh,
said it was like serial killery, right? Is that what
yeah.
it was?
hmm
Yeah, okay. So I'm
And
kind of like,
it's
okay,
also
I can see
very
that.
psychological in the fact that it deals with like childhood trauma as well. And
I
That's
then
can live with
good.
we
that.
have
Yeah. Could do
and
with trauma.
then
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's that's normal, right?
and then we have the one after that, which is Us by Jordan Peele.
Ooh, I have not seen that.
Booney, I think you're gonna like it. So like the let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. The premise of it is that there's this other whole family that is them. So I think I don't really know. Like the whole like thing of it is that or the scariest thing out there is us.
Oh, I like
Like a
that.
version of us. Because
hmm
these family members have to fight these other creatures or whatever that look like them
Mm.
and think like them.
So there's that. So we have our Hispanic. We have Jordan Peele is very a black based director. He likes to do black based horror. And focus on like their culture and background and things. So that we have that. And then our last one we're gonna focus up on is um like northern Nordic Swedish European horror with Midsommar and we're tackling that with their culture and or quote unquote culture in that very specific thing, but European and their culture and bringing
Wait, can I
upbringings and
just say
different
something? I just
traditions and stuff.
realized that I don't really know what Midsommar is all about, but I just remember that that's once like something that I'm curious about. Like I want to know what the story of this is. I don't know how scary it is. I don't think I thought this through. Maybe we shouldn't do this. You know what? One movie is good. Bunny, back me up here. We don't really need to do this. But nobody wants to see me get scared. Nobody.
I do.
It's like exposure
Look,
therapy. I think it's a good
look,
thing for you
I
to
can live
do.
without a boonie. It's fine. I
I
can live without it. I've
I
done
could
it for
have
32 years
picked
of my life. I could do it.
I could have picked way worse films. Okay? I think I was very good with what I picked cuz I could have picked way worse films for you. But so
Wait a
my
minute.
experiment
Wait. Hold on. Hold
is
on.
to
Hold on.
get her to love horror and overcome her fears of horror.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
That's a big
Tolerate horror.
that's a big goal. Yeah. Maybe tolerate.
Watch a movie? I think it's as far as I go.
Mhm.
Wait. So let me ask you this because I was doing this other planning for like the psychology for Kid Discord, and now I kind of want to pick your brain and everybody, I guess, in the audience. Um, is so I had this idea of watching like a really bad horror movie, like so bad is so good, because in my head I'm like, well, not gonna be scared actually because it's not a good movie, and I'm gonna be like criticizing it the whole time. Is that
Mhm.
what it is? Because that's my idea. I'm like, I don't know if that's what it's gonna be like. Have
Well,
I like
there's
also like walk myself into a corner again and forcing myself to watch another scary movie?
usually like the so bad, like the BC movies are like so bad that it's like you're laughing more because it's so ridiculous. It's so low grade. It's like um a well, I would say perfect example for me, like one of my guilty pleasure slash pleasure movies is Velocipaster, and such a stupid, shitty ass movie, but because of it, I love it and it's so good. Like I know it's bad, but it's purposefully bad and it's like it's so good because of it. So it's yeah.
Can I just do another pause to do another rant? So my brother was playing with dogos because he just walked in here and he finished all the water, and guess who's gonna give him more? Me. It's gonna be me giving him more water, and then he doesn't even like hanging out with me. It's not my brother giving him water, it's me. And he don't even like me. That's just unfair.
I'm so sorry that you have to go through this.
I think we're tapping into like some other primal like mental thing of Liz's right now. It's not even this is why we talked about Scooby Doo, because we had to face Liz's fears of abandonment by dogs. Like
No, it is when my
this is her
siblings.
fear is abandonment by dogs, and this is why we brought up Scooby
I
Doo.
need to be liked by all the dogs. I know when my siblings first got the dog, I was like, I thought it would be hilarious to let them know that I was gonna do everything possible to make sure the dog liked me more than he liked them, because it would be funny. And because I was hang out with because they were both working and like long hours and stuff, so they weren't at home a lot. So the dog would like hang out with me, so he would like listen to me more, or like if I were to call him, he would do that. But now he listens to his parents more because he hangs out with them more. And then I'm like, all right, fine, fair enough. They're his
Mhm.
parents, right? But now I'm like, but my brother? That my brother's not his parent, right? My brother only like plays with him, and I do all the other stuff.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
play is a big thing though. Liz, both you and Boone are in play like support play therapy.
Like 2 days ago I gave this presentation where I was like for like parents, and I was like, listen, a lot of older generations, they don't really like, they didn't have this concept of like playing with the kiddos because they were so busy trying to sort of like survive and have two jobs. And I was like, but now if you have the opportunity, you really need to play with the kids because that's how you connect with them and stuff. Why are you calling me out, Hope? Okay, point being is that my dog nephew hates me, and you should
Someone's gonna
all
keep you
pity me.
alive.
You like be realistic. No, I
And
don't need
also,
this.
look. just you're you know what, Liz? You are a doctor through and through because you give the best advice but never follow any of your own goddamn
We're
advice.
just gonna
I
clip it
try. I
right here.
try.
Clipping it.
I try. I try.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
I told you guys my therapist was like, I think you need to like you're like not getting out of this like burnt out stage, essentially because I need to socialize more, right? And in my head I was like, oh yeah, like I spend a lot of time doing stuff for like the nonprofit, and when I do end up socializing with people, it's because I need their help with like the nonprofit stuff, right? And I was like, all right, fine, I need to stop doing that. And then right now I was gonna be like, I'm here and like I follow the recommendations of my doctor, and I'm like, no, but this is actually technically work. Is it work? I don't really see it as work, but you know, I'm socializing. I'm good. I follow my own advice.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that your therapist's advice?
Same thing. So I agree with him, so therefore it's also my advice. Okay.
It's a start.
Baby
All right.
steps. Baby steps.
Oh,
Wait. Hold. Like one thing that I want to talk about is because
Why you got
when
cut off Booney?
I
oh
want to show
sorry,
you this. Can you read this?
positive
Positive
potato.
potato.
Is it too
Oh, I
big?
can't
Oh,
read the part of it. Believe in
I
yourself.
love. Oh my god, I love sending
No,
that
no, no, no.
meme.
Wait, hold on, Booney. Can you read it to us in your sexy voice?
What?
Yes. Wait,
Her
isn't that what
eyes.
people say?
Her
Mm.
eyes.
That's right. That's okay. Listen, I remember that someone said that you had a very sexy voice, and now in my head you have a sexy voice, so you kind of have to use your sexy voice
Dude,
to
I'm a crone. Do you not know that I've passed the age of sexy? Like, I'm not even allowed to. It's like my uterus is all like disintegrated. My eggs are dust. Like,
Nobody
this is
cares
not
about
even
Bro,
that.
part of my life
that
story.
that was my inner workings like 10 years ago. Okay, so you have no excuse.
That has nothing to do with sexy. Okay, do it. Read it.
I keep on saying people
Read
who are attracted to
it.
me have mom problems. You have mommy issues. You
Everyone
might
has
want to
mommy
lean toward.
issues.
What? Can't say stuff like that, doctor.
I'm not. What
She's
is it? I'm
channeling
not
her
on the
Freud.
payroll right now. I can say whatever I want.
She's channeling her Freudian side right now.
Let me just read this. It's a positive
Do like
potato.
do an ASMR voice, Booney. Then we can clip it, and then people can be
I
like,
don't know how to
that can be
do
like the
ASMR.
ringtone sound. You just do it like really softly.
This is so uncomfortable.
Just be yourself. Be yourself, and that's what's gonna come out. Just do it. You're a natural at this, Booney. I believe in you.
Okay, positive potato. I may be a tiny potato, but I believe in you. Go do your thing. So here's positive potato.
See,
Yes.
there you go. Now I need people to clip this and just make it like a sound bite, please, for me.
I actually
And I
there's a
just
meme
so I can
there's a
just
meme of
play.
that I send it to people and I love sending that to people.
Aw.
Yes,
Okay,
So
now.
yeah, Liz,
like potato.
positive potato, you can do the thing as in watch the next horror film.
Whoa.
Wait, what's it's Piggy, right?
Piggy, Cerdita.
You can do piggy.
Oh, you know what? It would be good. It would be cool if I watched it like in English first, and then like later, like probably around Christmas time, so I'm not like so scared by all the scary content I've been watching slash making. um I should watch it in Spanish to see if there's a difference,
I
because
What?
will say
sometimes
I've only watched it in Spanish with subtitles because I tried for 5 minutes with the dub and I was like, nope, nope, can't. Nope.
maybe that will be like less scared, because there is something, because like one of the things I think I said it like during the panel, but I say it all the time anyway. It's that for me, like one of the like just like scary sound bites for me is like kids laughing and like in a echoey sort of like place, and
So get her to watch The Shining, Booney.
and then like a bunch of women
Oh
praying in
my god.
Spanish.
But it's such a good
That,
story if you ever wanted to watch The Shining.
or you can just summarize the story for me, Booney,
It's
and
not the
then I would love it.
same. It's
Yes,
not the
it is.
same. Nope.
I would
Nope.
just love it. I would be like, yeah, that's so cool.
The compromise would be just to read the book. Compromise.
Wow. I don't know if that's
No,
even worse. Like,
is it more scary?
how many hours would it take to read the book compared to watching the film, you know?
Oh, it
That's her
doesn't matter.
punishment for not
Bruh,
watching the movie.
I signed myself up to read One Piece. I think I can read a book.
No, that's her Boone. That's her punishment. She has to read it if she's not going to watch it.
So let's say the
But is it
movie's like what,
scarier
3
though?
hours long? The book would be what, I don't know, 10 hours to read maybe? I don't know how many
Yeah,
hours it would take to
she
read a
But
book.
two
listen,
and a
but
half
listen.
to three.
Like it's like movies are kind of like immersive for me. Like I just kind of like zone everything out and I just like watch movies and then there's like scary sounds and stuff. If I read the book, maybe it's not as scary, you know? You
My
can read it in
mind
funny
does it
voices.
where, oh, that could actually work for you. But my mind, if I'm really into a book, I
Mm.
feel it more than watching.
Oh.
So we actually talked about this on one of Liz's panels that's going to be coming out sometime in October. I don't know. But we actually had a breakdown of the different types of horror in media and how it affects people, like either reading it, watching it, s- uh, spoken word, like different
Mhm.
facets of horror and how it
Mhm.
breaks down. So it's interesting.
And it's good because I think that's kind of like where I realized that I wasn't like there's things that I'm like not as afraid of. Like when I listen to like the podcast, it is like a YouTube video, that's how I watch it. But they don't really have a lot of like pictures in it. It's usually just the guy talking or like there's a picture of like a map or like, you know, random things like
Hmm.
that. And then I appreciate it because it's kind of like in a way like Scooby Doo, where it's like, yeah, it's a scary sort of like theme, but the way they present it is not scary, and that's what makes me be able to sort of like sit through it, because otherwise I would be like, oh, but this is just so sad, like, and all of these things happening, and I would just kind of like, you know, go down this rabbit hole of like sadness and feeling bad for everything and whatnot. But the way that this person presents it is very much like, oh, that person has ADHD for sure, because they're like, oh, this thing, I have never been there. Oh, but that reminds me, like my kids did this one funny thing the other day, right? So then I'm like, oh, cool. Like I get like additional stories aside from like the main story that he's talking about, which I appreciate. And then he's like also like reading it for the first time, and he's like very skeptic about things. And then like the person who edits the videos, they usually like put memes and stuff, and they make fun of the presenter, and then that gets me out of
Mm.
the
I was gonna say
whole like
that's a
experience.
very specific one. That's not like the ones that I listen to at all.
I don't think I would be able, because I think it was during the podcast where we like you guys were geeking out about like a specific person or like
Yeah,
podcasters
yeah.
that they do those, and I'm like, I don't know if I would be able to like actually listen to those. Because I don't even watch like the Netflix like documentaries and stuff like that, because again those are like very visually
Mm.
a thing,
Oh,
and then
I
I
love
think
a
I'm
good
like more of like
documentary
a
though.
visual person. So yeah, no, I can't. So it's cool to know, like, because one of the things that I really like in in the first panel that we did, they were like, there are so many different types of horror that you can still be a fan of it without like
Mhm.
getting like fully scared. Like I think
Yeah.
I will be, so I'm kind of hoping to discover what that is at some point.
And we're gonna do it through this journey of these movies here
So,
on
would
Mind Brain Movies.
psychological intense films, would they count under horror, or those are separate things?
It's like a subgenre.
Okay, so I that's what I prefer, to a
Yeah,
certain
I'm more of a
degree.
psychological horror type
Okay.
person.
Yeah.
I love me some good blood and gore, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, I'm obsessed with Terrifier and like Art the Clown and like Freddy Krueger, but like I do love good psychological horror.
Okay.
Wait, but before, since we this is sort of like the first time that we're talking about this whole journey I have been forced into by myself and Hope. Listen, you know what? I am gonna blame you, Hope, because I do force myself into like doing stuff because I think they sound really funny, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do them, or like I think there will be great content, or like people will enjoy it, but then I chicken out. You're not letting me chicken out, so therefore it is your fault, and I am being forced to do this. Please help
So I keep you accountable.
me. Yes. and I don't like it. Please
I will
send
take
help.
the blame of making you accountable, sure.
Oh no, and I went on this rant about blaming you, and I forgot what I was gonna say. Um. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about like I guess the fears that we have when it comes to sort of like horror. So you both said psychological horror is what you're more interested in. What is it
Interested in.
about it that you like it? That makes you like it? Words. Yeah.
Booney?
So, I think your mind is the most powerful muscle to strengthen. And if you
Mm.
can handle horror, that means you can handle whatever life throws at you. So psychologically, it's like doing leg day, doing arm day, going to the gym and really stretching it, letting the muscles tear, rebuild, going out and doing more because you need to maintain it. It's not just a one off thing. You know, like for some of us who have had traumatic things, like I was just watching another friend's channel. She just shared about her near death experience. She was dead for 32 seconds. And so she like shared about that. And I had near death experience when I was a kid. Um,
Mhm.
my and then I had like my light flash before my eyes when a car accident. And so like there's these different ways that we face life and death, and it either rebuilds us to be a stronger person or we fall into our own shadow, right? And so for me, it's very much intentional shadow work. Like if you're drawn to the darkness, you're drawn to the whole of who you are. That's basically it. It's like I would want to support your journey too, Liz, because I'm gonna throw in your Enneagram. You're two. Two is bright and sunny. Two looks towards the positive. Your shadow is actually me. Like you going towards the darkness and pain is you bridging the other half of who you are. Like my job is to actually be more positive and be more like both of you. Look towards the bright side, be more positive, enjoy life, have actual happy memories, you know. So if I stay in this too long, I know I'm gonna get stuck. So like it's both of us, like we're drawn to each other for a reason. We're supposed to balance each other out. I think that's the reason why.
Yeah, but you're supposed to watch all the scary movies for me and then just tell me
But I've
about it.
already
You're not
done
supposed
this
to
stuff.
make
Like
me.
I've my whole childhood, I watched these two films on repeat, and every time my family would come in and watch me, they're like, "All right," and they would like walk away. Like it's just some kid sitting alone by herself watching either The Shining or It. Like it was so weird. That was like my two things, you know. Yeah.
I'm like forcing myself to not go into like, psychoanalyzing moves like, but what did you like about them? That's for us off camera. You guys
I
don't
mean,
get
I
to
could share a
know.
little bit about that now. I'm sure Hope feels similarly. It's comfort with your pain. Like
Mhm.
because if it's so painful and so dark, you can't always talk about it outside. You got to be home with yourself inside this pain. Like it's an asylum sometimes. It's dark. It could be this one room where there's blood and gore and just sadness, that wounded part of yourself. So the film makes me see like it's actually okay to talk about this stuff. It's not a shameful topic. People make films
Mm,
about this stuff because it's
yeah.
okay to talk about and look at. Like in my head, like you know what? I work with gamers who love the back rooms. They love Five Nights at Freddy's. They
Mhm.
love the dark. Like there's a murderer trying to find you, and they're the
Mhm.
sweetest kids you'd ever meet
Yeah.
because they have a chance to talk about that darkness safety with somebody else, or to show you. Let me show you my game. I'm like, what the heck? You're like the sweetest, softest kid I've ever met, and there's this like the bloodiest, darkest game I've ever seen. So it's the same thing, right? Like they need a
That's
place to just let it out.
it's a parallel. I've mentioned this before on like other panels that I've been a part of, but there's this kind of like negative connotation with people who love horror. They just think, oh, they're like burly and gross, disgusting, mean, and same thing with like punk rockers, like in bands like and everything. But when I go to like, I've never felt more loved and safer when I go to a horror convention.
Mm-hmm. You guys are all
Like,
softies. Yeah.
yeah, like I've said this before. These are the only conventions where you will see more booths for animal shelters and getting
Mm-hmm.
like raising money for animal shelters than like any other convention. Um and it's because, we do share that trauma.
My
We do
brain was
share.
like, "Ooh, can I have a booth at a horror convention?
You
Yeah.
probably
Not
could if you
me.
do the work and watch the films. You're part of the community too.
I don't want to.
No
Can I just hire
grumbling.
someone? You guys do it.
No, but
You
like
know, I'm not liking this whole making me accountable. This idea sucks.
I'll let you play with the hedgehog.
Ooh.
I'll let you play with the hedgehog if you.
I like that. I like that idea. Sold.
Okay.
You know,
Yes,
follow up on
She'll
you
be
can
our
do
horror
this.
mascot.
I'm just gonna have a hedgehog on one side and the potato on the other and be like, I can do this. I can go through this. What's wrong? Nothing, but can you support my nonprofit, please?
And
But don't
honestly,
stand too close because you have spiders in your costume.
honestly, they would probably throw money at you. Not gonna lie.
No, so one of the things that I kind of like wanted to like follow up the Bruni was saying was that this whole idea of like being connected to the darker side of you, right? And I think part of why I have always not wanted to do this, it's because I knew that part was like full already based on like all the things that I had experienced like through a life. And because for a very long time I'm, you know, the daughter of immigrants, so uh, for a very long time I was sort of like in survival mode, so I had no time to listen to all the like the dark side of myself, because I there's this fear of like if I listen to it I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole and I'm not gonna be able to get up again,
Mhm.
you know. And then that's why I'm kind of like, as I'm working on my own sort of like healing journey and like figuring out and going to therapy and being told that I need to socialize more, I'm also like being like, okay, there's like little challenges that I like put for myself so I can feel more comfortable with, because I think one of the things that I told you, Hope, at the very beginning, I was like, I don't do sad movies. Because I
And the
have
first
had,
film, I made you do a sad film.
yeah. So as you can see, this is a very abusive relationship. So,
Ouch. Ouch.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh my.
Well, that's from the pre-YouTube days. That's like archive days. We'll have to revisit some of those movies.
Well, or not. You know, we don't really have to.
No,
But
well, I would like to do Mary and Max again.
oh, I would like to hear Boomy's thoughts on it. That would be
Hmm.
good. That would be great. Um, yes, but so the more comfortable, because I think if you were to have said like I don't know, maybe even 5 years ago, recommend like a good movie or like tell me something really sad, I don't think I would have been in a space where I could just, I didn't have space to hold
Mm.
anything, right? And as a
Hmm.
especially as a therapist, or like when I'm doing therapy, that's really bad. So I'm like, I can't continue doing this. And now I'm more, I still don't like it, and I don't think any, well, okay, maybe you guys do because you guys are not me. But I don't necessarily seek those like sad movies, but if I do come across one or something, I sort of like allow myself to feel now those emotions, and
Yeah.
I know that it's like it's gonna be okay, and therefore that's why I'm kind of like, you know, trying to do this, watching scary movies um to see how sort of like I react. Because one of the things that you were talking about was like being prepared for the world, and I'm like, I really, a lot of the times I feel like I am not prepared. I have this very rosy view of what the world is like and what I want the world to be, and unfortunately it's not reality. So I kind of have to knock myself into reality every now and then, because I can't live in like this idyllic place, you know. It's not healthy and it's not possible. Am I working towards making it an idyllic place? Yes. I am
Hmm.
creating a cult through my psychology
Cool.
for a cult of happiness and kindness where we don't have too much scary movies, or sad movies.
That's not
Okay,
my
sad movies can
happiness.
be okay, because sad movies are okay, but as long as they have a happy ending, that's sort of like my thing, you know. So
That's
I'm working
actually
towards my
describing a
happy ending.
cult. We're not allowed to feel bad feelings.
I was gonna say, like, you're taking away literally half of my identity.
Why are you guys using logic with me? My brain doesn't work like that.
Can you imagine yourself talking like that as a cult leader, though? That'd be so funny.
Like, stop bullying
Yes, great master. Yes, grand leader.
me.
Oh my
If
god.
anything, think it's gonna be a bunch like all my cult followers are people that are like Hope and you that are like, sure, but can you try this baby step into like the dark, scary world? That's just gonna be all the
We're
people I'm
like
attracting.
we're like that your hands that actually rule, like, you're just, like, the person, and me and Booney were like, "So what are we actually gonna do? Okay, cool,
Yeah,
thanks."
you're the face. All right, we're gonna pat you on the head, like, all right, Liz, thanks for
And
talking.
I'm
All
like,
right, let's
good
go.
job. And you guys get down to like the actual work of doing like all these evil rituals or whatever cults do.
Oh my god,
I
just
mean, what?
just go watch Mob Psycho, that cult episode where they're all happy, and be done with it.
No, 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 no. I just posted a meme. Wait. Well, by the time this is out, it will be out. I don't know if, because I did a meme on that, and I was like, because the cult is called LOL. Like that, I was like, that got me, and I think ever since then, I don't know. It's just Mob Psycho is such a great anime. Have you seen it, Booney?
It's on my list. I have not.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of those things that you can sort of like put in the background.
Hmm.
And
Josh
eventually
has
you
her
kind of
too
like get
consumed
into it.
JoJo.
I
JoJo's so long though.
Well, we're up to date on JoJo, but I made him watch My Hero Academia, so he's attached to that too now, and he's so happy. He's like, you know, the communist Bugs Bunny. He's like, our anime. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's how I feel whenever I convince someone to watch something I like. And I'm like, yes, you're part of us now.
Yep.
There's no escape.
And that's my horror of the week is Bigfoot. Is the no escape into this.
Listen, you force me to confront my fears and take accountability for the things that I say because I think it would be funny. I force you to. I couldn't think of how to say it. I was like, I forced you to take it when I'm like in gremlin mode and just like I don't know.
Before
Yeah.
anything else is said, I think we're gonna wrap today's episode here, folks.
It's not my fault. I got distracted. I blame
Like
Booney and Hope.
I seriously, I want to say more times, often than not, I have to end the episode because you're going a little too off the end, and I have to wrap your shit before it gets too much.
Would I have to do like my interviews and panels and stuff for psychology for geeks? I now have to like force myself to look at the time because otherwise I'd be like, yeah, and this is so cool. Oh, tell me more.
Good. Very good.
uh, and now I have to like be like, oh, okay, well, we still have a lot of things I want to talk about, and I want to hear from you. But now it's been like 2 hours, so we should probably stop. And it's been an hour and a half now, guys. So
Yeah.
wait, before we end,
God,
I need to say
my
one more
child.
thing. Please.
Look at the camera. Went down in
Hope has
disappointment.
given up a hope.
I gave up. I just gave up. We're back now.
The camera is like not doing this.
Mhm.
Listen. This is for the benefit of us all. Okay? This is my call to encourage you guys to buy Dr. Gremlin merch.
Oh my god.
And now you might say, but you don't even have your own Dr. Gremlin merch. You're right, but it's on the way here and it'll get here soon, probably. And when it does, I will wear it all the time. And you're like, you know what? I don't really care for the Dr. Glimmin thing. That is okay. Fear not. You can still buy the merch and then you can give it away. Christmas is coming. If you have family members that celebrate their birthday, that is a great gift. We also have stickers and cups. We have cups? I think
Mugs.
we've got mugs. We have mugs. Therefore, see, you have an array for your tea lover, coffee lover, people who like to wear shirts, which is all of us. Please buy more Dr. Gremlin merch.
I'm sorry
Thank
that she didn't include you nudist colonies, but okay.
Oh, I said mugs and stickers. We have something for everyone.
Anyways,
Anyway, that's how I would like to end my episode. I mean, this episode. um, Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and buy Dr. Gremlin merch. Bye.
So let me be the real person here and say,
Fine.
yes, after Liz's rant, yes, we do have the merch. We'll have the link in the description below. Not only do we have Dr. Gremlin, but we have Mind Brain Movies. And we have stuff for Booney now, finally, too. We have Booney the Octo Cutie and her archetype stuff, and it's adorable. And we're continuing to constantly update the merch site, but for now, please buy something and support us. That'd be great. Again,
Especially Dr. Gremlin merch.
not only does it go to helping us because we have to like keep equipment updated and working, and buy WD-40 for her mic, but also a part of the proceeds a part of the proceeds do go to Liz's nonprofit, which is helping bring mental health awareness, and also bringing a lot of resources to lower income places that can't really get it as easily, which is, I think, an amazing thing to do.
Oh, and speaking about that,
Damn it, woman!
Sorry. But I just want to say that it is working because we are relatively new, and people might say, well, like, what do you do? And a lot of what we do, it is really behind the scenes, and I forget to take pictures. Sorry, guys. But we are reaching out to the community. We do a lot of like presentations and stuff. So a lot of what I discuss here, or when I say, oh, I did this presentation, it's usually for like my community and stuff. So thank you guys for your support. And even like if you were to like not be able to help financially, if you like this video, if you comment, if you share this video with other people, that's actually a great help as well.
So yes, please like, comment, subscribe. I do have both of these lovely women's their personal YouTubes as well linked in below, so like, subscribe their videos, because while we do talk about mental health and everything on this podcast, it can be in a more lighthearted way, whereas they can on their sites give you more professional information. So
I am more professional, sort of.
eh,
And my other one.
and a lot of the
You
times
decide.
with
Go watch
Booney's
my videos
episodes,
first.
Liz won't interrupt her, so she can tell you about amazing,
Wait,
great
is there a way
things.
for you to mute me? That would be so funny.
I'm about to mute you right now. It's gonna be, your mute is gonna be called, I'm calling David with duct tape.
Nah, he left for work. Nice try.
Anyways,
sorry. Okay, I'll be quiet.
Anyways, so please, despite everything Liz just said, please like, comment, subscribe. I'll have everything in the descriptions below. I want to wish you, everyone, a happy spooky season as we begin this journey into the mind brain of horror, and as well as just be safe out there, and have a good time. I can't wait to hear back from all you guys, and just have a great spooky season.
Wait, can you share pictures on YouTube?
Bye.
No. I want to see pets dressed as scary characters. That would be so funny. Please send them to us. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, now we can say goodbye for real. God damn. Thank you for putting up with my disgruntledness, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good night.